Welcome to the Aligned Ambition Show, where we share women's entrepreneurial wisdom. Are you a woman starting or growing your online heart-centered business? Are you wanting to do things differently? Do you feel icky about using manipulative marketing tactics and are ready to align your business with your ethics, values, and life goals? If this sounds like you, then stick around for this conversation.
We're the dreamers, the believers, breaking through the mold, building up our visions with a purpose brave and bold.
All right, welcome to the Aligned Ambition Show. I'm your host, Larissa Russell of Heart Centered Academy. And today I have with me Laura Martinez. Laura is a former teacher turned digital marketing maven. I love that. And she helps service-based entrepreneurs build sustainable, portable businesses that can weather any storm. So you can travel. I love that too. So she's built a thriving agency and coaching business working from her mom's dining room table in Florida by keeping it real and making marketing manageable. We'll talk about that because I'm not so sure, proving that you don't need a perfect setup to build a successful business. So welcome, Laura.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
Well, I am so happy to have you because, first of all, marketing maven, you've got it made. That's the one thing we all struggle with.
Oh yeah.
And then if you can make it manageable, I'm in. So I want to hear about that. But can you tell us a little bit more about you and how you ended up doing what you do?
Sure. So, hi, I'm Laura, and I help female service-based entrepreneurs become the in-demand leader of their industry and get fully booked out without working those crazy 8 to 15-hour days that I'm sure some people think they have to do. I actually started as a VA back in 2019, and I think I made like under $2,000 that year. I was just taking on any client, working hourly for very little money, and it was like so dreadful. Like I was dreading most of my client work, and it was really, really hard. The real catalyst for where I'm at today, though, it actually wasn't like anything fancy, like a fancy strategy or a high ticket program, which I actually did invest in a high ticket program that didn't really get me anything because it wasn't what I needed at the time. But it was going through one of like the hardest personal challenges of my life. Last year, I got divorced, packed up my entire life with my toddler, and we moved to Florida. And I literally went from thinking I had the perfect life plan to setting up my office in my mom's dining room table I just needed family. I just needed to be around family, to be honest. It was not a fun time mentally. It wasn't that I needed her financial help. It was just I needed company. And so here's the thing, in the middle of all that chaos, my business didn't just survive, it thrived. It became my anchor. And that experience completely transformed the way I approach business because I realized that the most valuable thing that I can teach other people isn't how to create content, how to get more clients, how to, just grow their business. It's how to build something that is portable, sustainable, and can weather any storm like mine did. So now I just run my agency and my coaching business with systems that create actual freedom and not just like work from anywhere. Like I could travel the world. Yes, that's nice. And not the perfect Instagram version though, but the kind where your business will support you when life gets messy, like it does for a lot of people. I'm fully booked and I have a wait list of dream clients who get that authentic approach from me. So whether you're working from like a fancy office or your mom's dining room table like me, and having your grandma, my grandma also lives here, so she always interrupts my client call. She doesn't quite get the Zoom thing. I'm here to help build something that's truly yours and with your authenticity and something that can survive the plot twist that life can throw at you.
I absolutely love that because I've been doing the online thing since just before COVID, right? So just before COVID is when I started. But then I, suffered from burnout from doing too much in the first year, trying to do all the things. And then a year and a bit ago, I got really sick, had nothing to do with work, but got really sick. And so that again, and so having automations in place now, wish I'd thought of that before. Not that I wasn't told. right? Not that I wasn't told, but if I'd had those things in place, would have made a big difference. So picking up your life, starting over. So what actually changed for you? What did you start doing differently? Because VA work, you're right, is hard for minimum pay. And so what did you switch up to make it so different?
So I realized that with experience, you that you charging okay, so charging your worth, I hate that phrase, charging your worth. It shouldn't be aligned to what you can do. It shouldn't be hourly. Let's just put it that way. For lack, my brain's not comprehending what I'm trying to say. It shouldn't be something that you charge hourly for. You charge for the transformation you provide. So if you're a service provider, you provide a transformation for your ideal clients.
Mhm.
And that transformation is invaluable if you're marketing it in the right way, which we can talk about another time, or later on. But what that means is I went from charging $15 an hour, probably when I first started, to doing these to really marketing my skills in a way that defines the transformation for my ideal client, and they're like, "Wow, I need this." It's a no-brainer. So I changed my approach to marketing. I was just doing regular admin VA work, and now I'm doing more strategic work because with time comes experience. And like when you first start a business, I know so many people that have pivoted from their original business model, their original business plan. And while I still run my business that way a little bit, as in I still have the agency side of things, I have VAs under me. We're not really like that traditional of an agency because I still do most of the strategy for all of our clients, like launch strategy and all that stuff. I just have a team that helps with like execute, right?
Mhm.
It's still something that I changed my mindset on the idea of pricing based on time. Let's just put it that way. So that's really what changed. I went from making, like I said, I think it was like $1,600 my first year. It was really, I wasn't doing it full time. Let's put it that way, because obviously I would not have been able to survive on that income. But it was like something has to change. I was taking in all these clients, like all of my free time was spent serving clients that were penny pinchers and just like not my real thing. So when I really sat down and created a vision for what I wanted for this business, the first thing was like, okay, who do I really want to serve? What kind of person? And it's not going to be the penny pinchers. And then obviously tweaking my marketing to call on those people. So
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And that's so for those who are not charging their worth, and to me, worth is not necessarily, because we don't value ourselves. So like
yeah,
figuring out a worth amount, but we don't charge typically for the skill set we have or the transformation that we can provide, as you said. We charge hourly because that's sort of how our system is set up, right? And so we come from corporate or some version of that into the entrepreneurial world, and it's like, oh, well, if I can make this many dollars an hour, but there's so many things behind the scene. But the more important part is what do they get from it, right? What can they do with what you provide them? And
exactly.
that's really how you need to be charging, as you said. So when you're providing that and being able to increase your dollars, what's one thing you would tell women out there to do for themselves, how they can start to put that in place for themselves?
So I like to take my clients through an exercise actually that, well, if we want to go back to basics, you really could say, okay, what price do I want to charge hourly, and go that route and then double it. Like honestly, double it, because truly it's never going to be quite enough because you bring a unique set of expertise. People need what you're offering. You just need to know how to market yourself in the right way. And really talking about that transformation is how you're going to get there. So if you're having issues pricing yourself, your services, and obviously defining your worth is so it's I hate like charge your worth. What am I worth? Like I don't even know how to answer that question. And you're not your offer, you're not your services. Like you are a person. It's so different, and they're completely different things. And so what I would recommend, I actually take my clients through an exercise where we talk about time saved, potential clients, thinking about your potential clients. How much time are they saving? how much money are they going to make in their business, and you calculate all that. What's their return on investment going to be, and then price your services accordingly. Because if you're doing something that's going to give them a crazy ROI, you can't be charging pennies on the dollar for that, right? Because
Mhm.
that's just not fair for you. So that's kind of an exercise, and it's like it's a little bit more uh complex than what I'm saying right now. It's like a bunch of different questions about your ideal client and what the transformation you're providing is going to get them in the long run. Um, and what their cost of inaction is going to be too. And that's kind of what I help them through on sales calls too, because I'm very good at sales. Um, and yeah, that's kind of a different topic. But yeah, just something when you're considering your pricing, just really defining what you think your ideal client is going to save, how much money they're going to make, all those things, and then pricing yourself accordingly, because it's only fair to yourself to charge what they it's only fair to yourself to charge what you deserve. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. If someone is going to be able to take your information and turn around and make thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands from that information, charging $15 an hour doesn't make any sense, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
and we often think, "Oh, well, they don't have the money or people don't have the money." I know I had this mindset around Christmas. I never launched anything in December. I never really like pushed anything in December because I grew up in this like we don't have money at Christmas time, right? And so everything had to go to the holidays and all of that. And then I spent the holidays at Disney and was like, I have been lying to myself for so long. There are people with money at Christmas because look at how many thousands of people are here spending ridiculous amounts of money. And so it was like,
Oh yeah.
yes. So this is a story I was telling myself, right? So I would never sell anything in December. And just switching that one thing changed my whole story about so many things. And we have so many stories about money, our value. We're as women, we're not valued in society. So of course, why are we going to value ourselves? And so on and on and on. So learning to step into charging an accurate amount or an uncomfortable amount for most women, an uncomfortable amount is really difficult. And is there anything that you tell the people that you work with or help them through to see, why it's okay for them to do that?
Yeah. So it really comes down to your why. Why are you in business? You're not in business because this is a hobby. Although it should be a hobby. Like I mean, it should be fun for you, right? But
Mhm.
hobbies don't always make money, right? You want to make money, and that at the end of the day, if you're not charging yourself, you're not charging the way you should, you're doing yourself a disservice. Because in my experience, if I could go back in time, man, charging $15 an hour, even as a new VA, I was a teacher beforehand, so I was very organized. I had the skills, even though I hadn't been in business very long. I probably could have started charging $35 an hour because I was so highly organized. I get things done quickly. I'm efficient. But starting charging at $15 an hour brought in a caliber of client that I did not want. And I mean, it all comes down to who do you want to call in? Like, who is your ideal client? Who are you wanting, you know, to serve? And if it's somebody like that, then more power to you. You can charge accordingly. I'm not saying you have to charge like thousands and thousands and thousands. It all depends on what you offer too. So if you're doing something that's not going to take you so much time, obviously you can charge accordingly. What I'm saying is you need to think about the transformation you're giving your ideal client and not do yourself the disservice of charging so little that you're calling in a very low caliber type of person who is not going to, in my experience, the people that want to pay less, they don't do the work. If you're a coach, they don't do the work. They don't want it bad enough. And if you're a service provider, if you're providing services for people, they just keep like squeezing the life out of you until you have nothing left to give. And so just charging accordingly to that. Like, you really want to embody what you stand for and just price yourself in that embodiment, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love that you brought in embodiment actually, because that's exactly it. Feel into it. And we always think when we start business, I've talked to so many women. We always think when we start business, oh, well, I'll start low and I'll work my way up. And the thing is, you fill your list with people who, expect a lot for little.
Yes.
And then it's very hard to get out of that rut, because it's like, oh, I don't want to lose these people. And then you almost have to like ditch the whole thing and start over, because you get so entrenched in it, and
Yep.
you have to do a lot of mindset work. So if you can just skip that step altogether, trust me, I teach a lot from the place, don't do what I've done.
Yes, me too. Me too.
So if you can
Learn from
skip
my
that
mistakes.
step, yeah, which doesn't always work. I know. My daughter is she's going to be 37 right away, and we have those conversations still about could you just learn from me, not have to do the same thing over again? She's like, no, I have to make my own mistakes. Oh, please stop. Please stop. It's just hard on me. But it's so true. We make all these judgment calls on our own self, and then it's really hard to course correct later. So if you can do that right from the beginning, who are the people that I want to work with, right? What is the type of service I want to provide? What am I providing to people? And that can make such a difference in the clientele that you get.
Yep.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yep.
Yes. So what is the number one thing for marketing? Because you're the marketing maven. I love that name. What is the number one thing that women can do, or anyone really, for their business that doesn't feel so markety? Because we all get, marketing's hard.
Oh yeah, I love this question. Marketing does not have to be hard. The number one thing you can do is be yourself. Because I see so many people try to be someone they're not or copy other people. Everyone has their own unique personality. People are going to want to work with you for a reason, whatever reason that is. I have a client who's a copywriter who's a huge tea lover, and she's a book nerd, and she loves superheroes and Marvel, and that's all her brand is. That's very her. And she calls in these clients that just love that sort of thing. They're nerds just like her. I love it. For me, now I'm just channeling my Miami Hispanic because I grew up in Miami and now I'm back here. I never thought I would be back here, to be quite honest. And so I talk about cafecito all the time because my grandma is 97 years old. And until the other day, she was, walking around with her cane and making coffee. And now she fell, recently. So she's not doing so well. But she would literally offer coffee, like cafecito, as I call it, to my clients on calls. That's part of my personality now. So now my marketing has a lot of that. Like, you don't need this fancy setup. You don't need all the bells and whistles. You just need to be yourself. If you feel like you have a message to spread to people one day, get on Instagram and go live, or record a reel, or go on Facebook Live. If you have something to say it. Don't bottle it up, because people want to hear from you and your authentic self. So just be yourself. That's the biggest thing I can tell you.
I love that, because it's so true. And I think it's becoming more and more important, is that we don't need the shiny, right? We want the real.
Mhm.
And the more messy you are, the more people connect with you. Your
Oh,
people connect with you. You are not going to please everyone. Not everyone. There's 8 billion people on the planet. You do not need them all as customers. You do
nope.
not have the capacity for that. Find your people by being your own self and
Exactly.
sharing what you do. I love that. I love
Exactly.
that.
I used to go live weekly on my Facebook group, and my son is 2 years old. When he was a baby, when he was an infant, I would have him he would cry in the middle of my lives, and I'd be sitting there just teaching my marketing stuff with him in my arms. He's just crying, and I'm like, "I'm sorry, guys, this is the way it is." And if they don't like it, it's okay. They don't have to watch it. But it's just like, I loved being my authentic self. And the thing is, as time went on, postpartum, I don't know what happened, but I felt like I needed to be more polished and like proper and like do the curated carousels on Instagram and wear makeup to record a reel. And now I'm just like, you know what? I can't bother to wear makeup every day. I don't have time for that. I have a toddler and I just don't care. People don't care about what I look like. They care about what I'm trying to teach them. So that's
Mhm.
how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the barriers, right? Is that if I have to do my hair, if I have to do my makeup,
Yeah.
then I'm not gonna show up. Whereas if I can just, like, roll out of bed and show up, those
Yeah.
are the ones that actually get the most likes, comments, things like that.
Exactly.
And just roll out of bed and show up.
Yep.
Do whatever it is for you.
Yep.
Well, you do have a, free gift here, I see. So you have your, free content plan toolkit that has 30 days of content ideas, and I took a look at it. It's pretty impressive. So the link is below for anyone who is, watching now or on the replay. The link is below. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so
Mhm,
I just think people need the ideas and I'm a big planner. Lately my life has been so chaotic that it hasn't been planned at all. I like to plan my content when I um and that's what I help my like agency side of things. Like we have a Notion content planner. It's very like specific so that things go out. If you don't plan, things are not going to go out. But you need to bring your like what I was saying is you want to roll out of bed, record a reel, do it. But there needs to be structure most of the time because otherwise it doesn't get done. That's my opinion. So I created this spreadsheet for people that are like, I literally don't know what to post today. So you just go in there and you assign the date. It's like you can change the date for all the days of the month. And yes, there's 30 days. Actually, I think there's more than 30 days. I should probably count. But
mhm,
there's enough for 30 days, in other words, and you can do something different every single day and you can plan out your content like that. I will say it's not like the most like out of this world, but it gives you some idea of like some hooks. Like, okay, let's show behind the scenes or let's show do a how-to tip. Now, I will say there's a lot more to content than that, like how to grow your Instagram. Nobody's gonna want to watch that, right? You want to add your own personality, your own flair, and
mhm,
that's something that I really help my clients a lot with is like how to take a post from how to grow on Instagram to make it sound more interesting so people actually watch the reel or engage with it and want to work with you because of it, right? So it's just a baseline. So that spreadsheet helps a lot of people who feel like I literally just don't know what to post every day. Like I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do. And so you
mhm,
can go in there and edit it and you can like check the box for like the hook that you want to use and edit it to, kind of have more of your authenticity and your tone of voice and stuff like that. So you don't feel as overwhelmed. The hooks that I gave, they're proven to increase engagement and get consistent sales because I've been using this freebie for, oh my gosh, it's gonna be 2 years now, and people love it. I change it up occasionally with different hooks and stuff, and then yeah, there's other things that go along with that I like sell as like a content planner that like might, help further your content organization, in other words. But my biggest thing is just if you're not organized, you're probably not going to do it. So that's
mhm.
kind of why I created that spreadsheet.
Yes. Oh, well, it looks great. So, grab it. The link is below and take a look at it if it's something that you need, if you have trouble coming up with ideas. And what I've started doing more recently is when those ideas pop into my head, rather than just writing them down, just open up the phone. Just open up the phone and do it.
Yes, and those are the best pieces of content. They do the best because it's
Mhm.
just like off the cuff. I have inspiration. Let me do this right now. I love that. Yes, I
Yeah.
agree.
I
Mhm.
do also have a plan and, then I have to connect it to something and I may not put it out that day, but I've recorded it. And so, I
Yeah.
do that as well. So there's a little bit of both, right? A little bit
Mhm.
of just showing up and then also the planning everything out. Well, I want to thank you so much for being here today. Is there any final thoughts you want to share?
No, I mean, I think I said a lot. Like my biggest thing is just be yourself. I just think that there's this entrepreneur online space is so full of copycats. It's very saturated and each individual person just has their own uniqueness that other people like want to work, they want to work with you for a reason. So my biggest thing is just be yourself. If I could give you like my best tip is marketing doesn't have to be so complicated, and we make it really complicated because we think it has to be perfect and fancy and blah blah blah. And yes, having a plan helps because otherwise you don't do it, but just be yourself. It doesn't have to be so scripted and like, rigid, right? So just be yourself. That's pretty much everything.
I love that. I love that so much. Well, I want to thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
And for our listeners or watchers, thank you for being here, and we will see you again next time on the Aligned Ambition Show. Are you a woman interested in aligning your heart-centered business with your ethics, values, and life goals? Join our Aligned Business Building Mastermind for accountability, like-minded women who become your business colleagues to share your journey with, resources and trainings, and so much more. Join us for 1 month free using the link below. Thank you, and we'll see you next time on the Aligned Ambition Show.